Welcome to the Mischief Maker broadcast, where chaos, creativity, and common sense collide. Your host, Joel Freeman, was kicked out of high school in Alberta, Canada. He left home at 17 and hitchhiked around North America as a long-haired hippie and dope-smoking fool. He made a 180-degree change, becoming one of the first chaplains in the history of the NBA. As a professional speaker, Joel has traveled to well over 55 countries. His many books have been published in 28 foreign translations. Pieces from his Black History collection have been seen by millions at the United Nations and many other venues. And now, the Chief Mischief Maker himself, Dr. Joel A. Freeman.
Hey guys, Baby Joel here with the joke of the week. How do you make a tissue dance? You put a little boogie in it. Well, there we are. You put a little boogie in it, makes everything just fine. With a tissue anyway. Well, that's Baby Joel checking in for this evening. He joins us Baby Joel, bigger Baby Joel, and teenager Joel are join us every once in a while on these shows. Tonight we're going to kind of share with you who our guest is, Rosalind Withers, and a little bit about her. We're going to do some business here and show you, about the QR code and all the rest of it. Plus, we're going to play a song that I wrote. I think you'll be fascinated by if you've not heard it before. And then we're going to bring Rosalind on at that time, and then the rest of the show with Rosalind Withers. Now, her father was Ernest Withers, and whether you realize it or not, you've seen his photographs during the Civil Rights era, living in Memphis, Tennessee, and being able to take a shot to Atlanta, to Birmingham, all the different cities that were involved in the Civil Rights movement. He was no more than 100, 150, 200 miles away. As a former police officer, a photographer, he was there with Martin Luther King Jr., Ambassador Andrew Young, and so many others of the Civil Rights era. And it's just something I think that tonight's show, I think you're going to get quite a glimpse into him. But I don't want Rosalind to get lost in the mix here. Yes, she's here about her dad's legacy and her family legacy, but she is in her own right a champion, an incredible human being. And so we're going to be meeting a wonderful person. Now, up above, you're going to see the QR code. That is, it's the link tree for the show, and many other things, our sponsor, the Rosetta Universe, and the music, and all kinds of other things. Plus, you can meet all the other folks that have been on this show. This is number 51, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. So we're a weekly show, and those who are live, who are watching this right now, you know who you are. Please join in with any questions that come to mind that are germane to the topic, and Mel will be the judge of that. And then he will put forward your question, and then Rosalind will hit it out of the park. So tonight, and by the way, on this show, please subscribe, please comment, please share this show. And we're connected with about 16,000 BBC affiliated stations. So if your BBC affiliated station is not accepting this show, call up to GM and say, hey, we need the Mischief Maker Show here. Now, what is a Mischief Maker? Go to the QR code. There's a whole definition, and you can become a Mischief Maker in your part of the world. And hopefully we'll edge you a little bit closer to becoming a Mischief Maker in your wherever you live around the world. So right now, we're going to jump right into the song. This is a song I wrote. It's actually a celebration of the 25th anniversary of Roots. And so it's called Alex Haley, Roots, and the Rosetta Stone. A little known story that I heard and read about. And I said, this needs to be a song. So here it is.
"1964, London calling name, sent to chase a star of silver screen fame. Julie Christie filming and the meeting never came. So he lingered to see spoils from the old world untamed. A guided tour paused in the museum hall, where a fractured black tablet made Alex recall. Some codes hide quiet till the right key is turned. Every locked up past waits to be known. From bloodline whispers to a world of stone, roots speak loud through the Rosetta Stone.
3 voices carved from a distant time, hieroglyph, demotic, and Greek in a line. Champagne, listen where others guess. Let the known words lead them into the rest. Secrets unlocked, Egypt became the trend. What was sealed by time came alive again.
30,000 feet on the flight back home. That stone kept tapping in his mind like a drum. Kinte said his name, cold strummed its own. Can be Bolongo where the deep waters run.
Fragments of language, broken but strong. A map in the music of a mother tongue.
Some codes hide quiet till the right key is turned. Every locked up past waits to be known. From bloodline whispers to a language on stone, roots speak loud through the Rosetta Stone.
Hitting Tennessee, most voices gone. Only cousin Georgia's still holding on. 80 years heavy, bedridden and afraid. Till Africa stirred when telling her tale.
She sat straight up when Africa was named, and the past caught fire in the words she claimed.
No charts, no ledgers, no paper trail. Just scattered clues that refuse to fail.
The UN and Hamilton, one face at a time, till Gambia answered what the world declined.
One man heard home in the words he said, and the door swung wide to the names of the dead.
Some codes hide quiet till the right key is turned. What was taken can still be grown. From porch-lit tales to a journey full-blown, the roots of Alex Haley and the Rosetta Stone.
Well, there you have it. We have the song Alex Haley, Roots, and the Rosetta Stone. I hope you enjoyed that, and the storyline behind it is fascinating all by itself. Well, we have Rosalind Withers. She's going to be coming on in a few moments here, and I just want to share some things. She's a world-class marketing, sales, human resources type person. She's worked with some, I guess you'd call it Fortune 100 blue chip companies like Eastman Kodak Company, the Raytheon Data Systems, Ryder Truck, and the rental company FedEx. Everyone around the world knows about FedEx with all its operating companies. And she's had quite a career track and a record that has developed strategic planning and leading edge technology systems and implementation of new methods and products and services. She's the daughter of Ernest Withers and the founder of the Withers Collection Museum and Gallery that opened its door to the public in February of 2011. Not long, a few years after the passing of her father. And she's preserving over 1.8 million images. Now just imagine that. I mean, we have cell phones, and I'm sure some of you have 20, 30, 40,000 images on your cell phone, and you're thinking of how do I get rid of these? And they're taking too much space. And 1.8 million, now that's with a crank camera, a regular SLR, whatever those cameras were back then, making sure that every photograph, every negative is just right. Unbelievable accomplishment. And so come on in, Rosalind, and we're going to call you Roz, because that's what your friends call you.
Perfect.
And that's what we're going to call you tonight. Now, Roz, I spent a whole day with your dad back when he was alive. I was on Beale Street, and a mutual friend had said, I got someone you need to meet. And your dad had all these drawers he opened up and showed me pictures and looking at negatives and things that I don't know have ever seen the light of day in a regular sense. But I didn't really know who he was at the time. I didn't have a cell phone. I would have taken a selfie with him, a picture with him, but that didn't happen. And so, but I have this wonderful memory with your dad. Now, I don't want you to get lost with your accomplishments in this whole interview, this conversation. But I want us to go back and what was it like growing up in the household with your dad taking off and hearing about something happening in Birmingham? And when did you finally realize that your dad's work was so historic?
This responsibility. My father passed away in 2007, and he named me my mother's successor. My mother was the trustee, and unfortunately my mom only lived 10 months after my father.
Oh my goodness.
So as a result of her, passing so quickly, I had to jump right into this role. A lot of my training career-wise helped me to really kind of juggle all those different things that I had to do professionally, end up being my legacy. And looking at all the different aspects of Dad's work, and it is massive. He having the 1.8 million images, it makes it very challenging because I did a lot of research trying to find a parallel, because it's so much easier to duplicate than to originate, and that was not something that I was able to find. I was able to find that volume or body of work all in places as institutional situations, but not as an individual. And to give you some comparisons of what that may look like, we did a project with Major League Baseball, and in their collection, they have 1.8 million images, but they have over 52, I think I was told, 52 different photographers to put together 1.8 million images.
My goodness.
Ernest Withers has 1.8 million images as a solo person. And then I tried to find it if there was any match worldwide. So I can honestly say he has the largest body of work that has ever been amassed by a single individual.
That's incredible. Now, I spent a year in high school. I took a photography class, and we took pictures, but we spent a lot of time in the dark room. Did he do his own darkroom work, or did he job that out to somebody else?
Yes, he did.
Oh my
He did,
goodness.
he did
Hmm.
his own black and white development. Color, he did not. He did
Mhm.
labs. He used lab because the technology of color was a bit different
Yes.
during that time. But all of his black and white images, I mean, it started as early as the 40s. That's really the entrepreneurial experience that he and my mother had together. Right out of the military, he stepped into, wanting to have a photo studio. So he and his brother used their GI Bill
Hmm.
to open the first Withers studio. And one of the things that was very unique to Memphis and really not really repeated to this day is that there was the Martin brothers who owned the Negro League team.
Hmm.
That's why we had the relationship with Major League Baseball, because we had images that helped them to really surface some of the acknowledged Negro League players when they incorporated them into the stats. But in doing that, the Martin brothers owned the stadium, and then they also owned the Red Sox team, which has never been repeated by an African American ownership to this day. So that was very significant. But the way the games ran is that they would do the games sometimes 7-10 days out.
Yes.
Would play a game, and then the next day they come back, and the next day, and so on and so forth, which gave my parents the opportunity to take pictures all that previous day. My dad would go home. I could still smell the chemical in our home, but my mom would dry them in the oven, and she would count how many that she would print, and then she would give him an estimate of what he needed to bring home in terms of dollars. So
Wow.
that was their entrepreneur early on together. And that was in the 40s.
My goodness.
Mhm.
So had he was a police officer before that. Was he a photographer as a police officer? How did he kind of navigate into taking pictures?
As I mentioned, when he went to the military in
Okay, yeah.
what was before him was an opportunity for him to work in a lab. He was the Jeep driver for the commander in chief,
Hmm.
and they were discussing this lab opening. And he asked if he could actually work in the lab. And here's why he was interested. At the freshman year in high school
Hmm.
is when my aunt had gifted her boyfriend, who ended up being my Uncle Harvey, a camera, and he didn't want it. He rejected the camera. So my father asked for the camera. And when
Wow.
he got the camera, he took the camera and started tinkling with it and using it. And then he had the opportunity at a school rally to go up all the way in the front of the stage and take a picture of Marva Lewis.
Hmm.
And Marva Lewis was Joe Lewis's wife.
Yes.
And she was like a Halle Berry, gorgeous
Mm.
at that time. And he became the most popular guy in school because everyone wanted a copy of that picture. And that was the bite that got my father interested in photography, because it made him popular. And then it gave him the ability to give people something that was very unique, and especially back in those days, be able to print and it's a frozen moment in time and give it to someone. It was very, very, very unique back then.
Do you
It
remember
is unique today too. So
you still have that original camera? What kind is it?
we, you know what, we're identifying all the cameras. We have so many, okay, and we're doing the historical research on each of the cameras. We're hoping to be able to actually teach that, because photography is not going anywhere. It's in all of our hands. So the history of photography is so important. So that's why we really meticulously make sure that we're recording with accuracy the history behind each of his cameras that we have in our possession.
Now, did he at one point say, I'm going to be serious about this, I'm going to go to a photography course, or it was
That's
all?
what I didn't come back around to. So when he asked his commander in chief if he could take the post, he granted him that ability to learn photography. So Dad learned photography, I would say, on the dime of the military, and he learned the best.
Beautiful.
So when he finished his assignment militarily, he knew exactly what equipment to have. He knew how to use the equipment. He knew how to set up the dark room. He learned all of that by working in that photo lab. So when he and his brother got together, my father knew the type of equipment, everything. So that's how it all started from
And,
his.
and so, it's one thing to take a picture of Marva Lewis, and you get excited about, everyone's excited about the picture, and then what kind of steps did it take for him to become a part of the civil rights movement? How did that happen?
Good question. He began to work with the Sinstack family that was out of Chicago, and there was
And
a lot.
Who are they?
They were the owners of the Chicago Defender paper.
Ah, yes.
And they were kind of based out of Memphis, or originated. Most people that migrated to Chicago came from Memphis or had deep roots in Memphis. And Dad had connected with them and provided them with some photographies, starting with sports and then into the media situation.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave him an assignment to cover the Emmett Till trial. And this was in 1955. So they sent him to cover that. Not only was it the Sinstack family, the Ebony and Jet Johnson, Robert Johnson, wanted access to that. So having that responsibility as a freelance photographer, and of course, one of the things that my father has been recognized and noted for is taking the brutally beaten face of Emmett Till and putting it in the wire service. And the wire service, it went global. It wasn't just in the United States. It was a global thing. And that is what connected his relationship. And I learned this from Ambassador Young with MLK, with Martin Luther King. And Martin wanted to know, who did that? How did that image get so much recognition around the globe? And he kept getting this photographer that's in Memphis. And that's when Ambassador Young informed me that he said, let's see if he can help us with the Montgomery bus boycott. And that took place in 1956.
Wow.
So in 55 was when the Till, and then they asked Dad to come to Montgomery. And that's the other famous picture with Martin sitting on the bus at the front, him and Abernathy. And they had the silhouette of someone in the back that was the reverse of the experience of riding the bus back then.
Wow. And so what they would do is they call him up and say, hey, this is what's happening, and would you be here at such and such a time? Or
that's what Ambassador Young informed me, is that he reached out to him and he said, are you the one that was able to get the Emmett Till image across the globe? How did you do that? He says, well, I just really called in some favors, because he would be supplying some of these journalists images in places where they couldn't get as a freelance photographer, because I'm sure they didn't hire African-American photographers. So he would sell whole rolls of film.
Wow.
And he would carry, which I'm sure you probably know, multiple cameras.
Yes.
He would have a camera for the white press, the black press, and then an extra camera for himself. So he would snap, because they had to roll it, right?
Yes.
So that's how he covered so much, is that he would have these multiple cameras covering those moments.
I just think of the logistics of all that, getting one roll out, putting another one in, and making sure that he
did it with finesse, and he sold the rolls of film, and the significance of one of the images that he just got credit from Getty about 5 years ago. And the credit that he received is of Mose Wright pointing and saying, this is who killed Emmett. That photograph was taken by my father. Now, he released that photograph to the wire service, and he did it not just to get paid. He did it because if the judge, if you remember any scene in any of the story, how he threatened those
Mm-hmm.
black photographers and journalists that if they took a picture in his courtroom,
Yeah.
that they would die.
Phew.
So that was very dangerous for my
Mhm.
father to take that. And a little while after it came out because many of the memoirs that was written by not Sinstack, I can't think of some of their names, but the ones that were there, Alex Wilson, and all the other photographers and journalists that were present at the Emmett Till trial, they all wrote that Ernest Withers took the only photo in the courtroom because they all found out after the fact that he took it, but he sold it to the wire service.
Wow. I can't even imagine the word guts comes to me. Courage.
Yeah, the bravery. And when I reflect on what he did, because he did a self-published book when the trial reached a verdict of not guilty. He did that published book because he did not want the story to be erased.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could read you what that says, it is one of the things that really, when I feel overwhelmed and lose perspective sometimes of how important this is, when I read that one paragraph, it puts me back on track.
You have it right there?
I can get it. Yeah, actually.
Well, I'll tell you what, at the break, we'll come back, in about...
Don't get paragraph.
Okay.
Yes, I could definitely do that. Yeah.
The Rosetta Stone provided clues that revealed many of my secrets to a modern world. Come learn how even more ancient mysteries are unlocked by the Rosetta Stone Traveling Exhibit Project.
Well, folks, you've just heard from the Sphinx of Giza telling you about the Rosetta Universe Project. And one of the things that you can find is that I have developed a process, 7 steps to solve pretty much any problem in about 8, 9, 10 categories of problems. And we're developing some pretty cool stuff. So if you go to the QR code above, the number 1 on the link tree is the rosettauniverse.com. Just go there, check it out, watch the videos, and then call me. My cell number is right there. Call me, and then any wisdom, advice, or ideas that you might have, I'm wide open. Furthermore, I designed this belt. This is the Jack Johnson belt I designed. And we're making only 700 of these belts around the world. And it's a fundraiser. So the only way to get this belt, it's 700 worldwide. The design will be destroyed after 700, and we ship it out to you. But the only way to do it is to donate to the foundation, a nonprofit donation if you're in the U.S. and a feel-good donation if you're outside the U.S. We'll ship it to you, and it'll be something you'll treasure. It's signed, hand numbered, everything. It'll blow your mind when you see it. I've had Sugar Shane Mosley and all kinds of folks that Bernard Hopkins holding the belt, telling me this is the most beautiful belt I have ever seen. Effusive heavyweight champions, middleweight champions, welterweight champions going crazy over it. So you too can go crazy over it in a different sort of way, perhaps. So Rosalind,
Yes,
we're back with you, and thanks for allowing me to take that break for our sponsor. But do you want to read this paragraph from your dad's book that he self-published that brings you back every time?
It says, this is the last paragraph of the preface. It says, in brief, we are presenting this photo story not as an attempt to stir up racial animosity or to question the verdict in the Till murder case, but in the hope that this booklet might serve to help our nation dedicate itself to seeing that such an incident need not occur again.
Wow.
To this end, we dedicate this pamphlet, Ernest C. Withers, photographer. Then it says, P.S. This pamphlet is an individual project. It is not sponsored by any organization or any type. Entire content copyrighted 1955 by Ernest Withers, photographer. My father was 33 years old
33.
when he did this. That is a wake-up call for me and understanding. Did he understand the significance of what his role was as a photographer and the preservation of history that he self-published this little pamphlet? Now, fast forward my day, I get invited to Monticello to do a exhibition as well as to speak to a audience at Thomas Jefferson, the Monticello. In the audience, at the end of it, I got to meet the descendants of Sally Henning, who was the concubine, I guess, of Thomas Jefferson, where she had multiple children. Well, I met a gentleman by the name of Carl Jefferson. He was with the family. We ended up having dinner. But in my presentation, I read that preface and I showed the front of the book and we flipped through the book, but it was a copy of it. And I said, I only have one original. He came up to me and said, you know what? I was going through my grandmother's material and I think I saw that book.
No kidding. Oh my goodness.
And I said, really? He says, yeah. He says, can I have your number? If I find that book, I'm going to call you. He called me before I left that night. And he says, I found it. The only thing, he tells me, I want to give it to you. But it has my grandmother. She wrote a telephone number on the back. I think I'm going to try to get that. He says, don't touch it. Please don't. Leave it just like it is. He met me at the airport that morning and gifted it to our family. Wow. Can you imagine a descendants of Thomas Jefferson having a book that Ernest Withers published?
My goodness gracious.
And gave it back to us?
Oh, that's...
So our family only owns
full circle
of the original. So I was reading the preface before then. So do you think my father was saying, this is important to me?
Man, I can see how much that, how deeply that goes in you, just in the way that you're describing this.
Yes. It's quite important. So my legacy is to preserve the history in such a way that we have the ability to share it. When our family first met, we put together a very simple mission. Very few people knew about the body of work that my father had. But what was his content? A lot of people didn't even know that history existed. So it was to educate. Our heaviest lift is preserving the work.
Yes.
I digitized 1.8 million images. But we're still doing it. We're still trying to do it. But then the last piece is to share. And that's the part that I have worked so diligently to get a solution, especially in our historical day-to-day experiences that is happening right now. We're having history happening right now. And it's an attempt to erase the connectivity of our culture with our own. So in that, we know that there has been a removal of our history in museums across the United States, an elimination of its education component in all schools. So how does this history get taught? I was on a 4-year project with Microsoft. They gifted us $252,000 of Azure a platform in which we've designed a solution to that. And one of the things that the Azure platform allows us to do is that we've done a hologram of my father.
Really?
And we've done AI, AR, and here's the AR product. And if I can share this,
Yes.
call the Legacy Line. If you Google Legacy Line, you will see the product that we have worked with. In that gift that Microsoft gave us, they introduced me to a brilliant young man by the name of Leron Walker out of Atlanta, Georgia. He created the Legacy Line product. We took the metadata associated with every image. We took 60 hours of my father's voice. And so when you pull up my dad's image, he tells you the history.
Oh my goodness.
Just by using your phone.
My goodness.
Every person, every child has what in their hands today?
Cell phone.
Yes. So the concept is we're bringing our history in our homes because culturally, we as African Americans always had a staple or staples in our home. We had a picture of Martin Luther King. We knew the history behind him. We had a picture of Medgar Evers. We knew the history of him. We had pictures of JFK, of Robert Kennedy, and of course, Jesus Christ, right? But those are the stories that our families taught us based on the images in our homes. Well, we took everyday products, and those everyday products, you can tag your phone by downloading, scan it, and then it teaches you the history right in your home.
So if someone goes to the Legacy Line, they Google that. Is there a website to that?
Yes, I will get that for you.
The witherscollection.com is one website, but do you have a link from your website, regular website?
It's at thelegacyline.co.
Okay, legacyline.co. Great. Well, we have a question here. Tom Glavine, I hope I'm pronouncing your first name correctly. I'm just kidding. It is reprehensible. Rewriting history for ideological and racist reasons is not going to work, but it will take a generation at least to reconstruct authenticity again.
Authenticity, yes.
Do you want to talk about the authenticity of the project, what you're doing, and getting into schools from K to Gray?
Actually, one of the unique things about my dad's body of work is that it is frozen moments in time that cannot be repeated, but they're actual moments of historical accuracy. That is not our story today because we do so much altering of history. And that's one of the things that I've made it a pledge to make sure when we're teaching the history that it keeps its authentic original image when you scan it, that you're seeing it from that and not altered images. So history is very important when you're actually teaching it from the truth of what it covered. And my dad has 1.8 million stories to tell.
Now, Getty has that one picture, and I'm sure there's others. Are a lot of the pictures that were in the rolls that were given to the newspapers or to the wire services are lost to you, or are you finding them and gaining recognition, not just recognition, but ownership of those images?
Well, we have a legal team that's actually kind of discussing the strategy of that, because it's not that we want to get any residual revenue from it. We just want the accuracy of his recognition of being the artist behind the image. And we because he did simultaneous images, I went to an Apex show and I saw my father's work in so many different booths that had unknown artists,
Oh my goodness.
unknown, and it was usually tied to some media.
Hmm.
So now what I would do is to record that and give it to the legal team, and then they would actually use, there's a way that you can actually match the
Hmm.
negative with the negative that he has, time period and everything. So
Right.
those are, I mean, that's strategic, I mean, that's tedious,
Yes.
expensive, but we're that's one of the things that we will do over time. We may not be able to do it completed in my lifetime, but it's definitely on our drawing board.
Let's step back to with you as a child, and your dad is getting a call, taking off to Atlanta, wherever it might be. And at that time, did you recognize or understand the danger? Number one, and then number two, the importance of what he was doing. Just surrounding the moments that your father was photographing. But were you cognizant of that?
I wish I could tell you that I was. I was just a happy little girl hanging
Yeah.
out with her dad, not recognizing the significance of what he was doing. And I have to give honestly my mom a lot of credit of really helping us to have or not have the void of my father not being there. As much as he was traveling, we didn't
Hmm.
feel that void, and here's why. There was a stapled day on Saturday. Every Saturday, my mom would make this amazing breakfast. And,
Hmm.
like we're talking fried chicken and rice and gravy and eggs and biscuits and sometimes Simon croquettes and cream corn and all these wonderful things. And it brought many people to even drop into our home and just say hi because they knew my mom was in the kitchen making this huge meal. My dad was always there. So if
Wow.
there was something happening on a Saturday morning, chances are my father was not there because that was something that we did as a tradition, as a regular thing. And she herself established his presence because of that.
Hmm.
Without that, we probably would have felt more of his absence
Yes.
than his presence.
Hmm.
But because we had that and it was anticipated, my father knew, my mother obviously required him to be there, and he was there.
Mm. Now,
Very
were there?
rarely he wasn't.
Sorry.
Very rarely that
Yeah.
he was not.
Mm.
It had to be something approved by Dorothy if he was not going to be there.
Now, are there any conversations you had with your mom or your dad that helped to shape your understanding of race, justice, history?
Actually, you know what's interesting? And I was very touched by the Alex Haley story because there is a direct connection
Hmm.
with Alex Haley and our family. And I'm going to answer that through Alex Haley.
Okay.
Um, my brother was the youngest state legislator elected in the state of Tennessee in 74. He was 22. And we it brought attention to him, and
Hmm.
Alex Haley spoke in the House, in the Tennessee House,
Really?
and he wanted to meet my brother. Came to find out that my mom's aunt was his caregiver as a child.
No kidding. Huh.
Yes,
That's
that
crazy.
that bonded them, and they were bonded, and he spent a lot of time with my brother Teddy and challenged my brother Teddy to really go to Africa.
Hmm.
And guess what? He did it in a big way. My brother and my father and a crew of 8 people visited 33 countries in Africa in 5
Oh
months
my goodness.
as a result of the relationship he had established with Alex Haley. But here's the caveat. When they were building this relationship, especially when Alex Haley found out my mother was related to his caregiver, he wanted to come to our home. And my mother made a meal for the entire cast of Roots. They came to our home on 480 West Brooks Road.
My goodness.
We shut down the whole street.
Oh, it's a block party.
It was yes, it was. Now that's when I was interested in my history. So
Man.
that's what made me recognize my history, was the story of roots and the fact that Alex Haley, and at that time I was in love with Jim Kelly. I was a little girl, but I loved him because he was the most handsome guy to me. But we had LeVar Burton, Eartha
Mm.
Kitt,
Mm.
Grady. We had all of them in our home. My mother made soul food for the whole cast.
My goodness.
It was amazing. So when I saw that, it brought tears to my eyes.
Mm.
I was like, I can't believe this. This is very special.
Wow. In Memphis, I know I haven't been to Memphis too many times, but I know the time I was there with your dad, there's such a vibe to Memphis, and especially
Music.
Beale Street. There's a certain vibe to
Music.
that region. And how did Memphis itself shape your identity and your perspective while you're growing up?
Music. I could say my love for music was rooted out of that. And my father seemed to, be at that time, of course, being young, I was agitated by, if we were to walk a block, it took us an hour to do it because he was stopping and talking to everybody, and everybody was talking to him. But the thing that he gave everyone, which I thought, as I reflect on him as a person, and the reason why the community loved him so much, he would give people their history about themselves.
Wow.
He would tell someone that he might stop and say, "Oh, your uncle owned this store down the street, and your whole family, did this over here, pick cotton," or he would just give people their history that they never knew through the imagery that he shared with people, and they loved him for that, because that's who he was. And in the connectivity of the community and music, and today I think a lot of my hospitality comes from the training of, they used to refer to our home as Grand Central Station, because we had so many people that would be visiting us that were people from all over. And one quick story is Raina Evers, Megger Evers. Raina would visit when we were little. We were little girls, and her father came, and she would spend time with me. We played together, and in that happening, I remember how devastated my father was behind his death. And we grew up knowing that we had met each other, and then we ran into each other, and come to find out, when I moved to DC, she lived 1 block from me, and we met each other, or just looking at each other repeatedly and saying, "I think I know you. I think I know you." And when we discovered each other at the grocery store, it was just an embrace, and we've been in contact, not so much regularly, but in the last 4 years we've been very close in proximity, because we worked on the project with Microsoft together. Microsoft really kind of brought us back together, because we traveled in telling our stories.
Yes.
Through Microsoft.
So you, back, I think after your father passed away, a year or 2, 3 later, there was a journalist that wrote an article about your dad that I'm not going to even try to frame it. Would you frame it?
Our world.
Yeah. Would you frame it for myself and the audience? Because I wrote about it in the textbook Black History 365, and I called it Ernest Withers, A Complicated Man. Can you frame it for us, and then explain, how it hit you, and the controversy that emerged, and how you've dealt with that?
Well, when it hit, what's interesting about, his name is Mark Parisi. I probably shouldn't give him that much credit, and I say that only because of the way he did it.
Yeah.
Came to me. I was not really living in Memphis. I was remote, kind of dealing with my dad's asset. And he told me he was doing a research story on the FBI. And my father had the most comprehensive files of the FBI during the civil rights movement. And he wanted to come to look at some of his history. And at that time, I was in South Florida. So I assigned my niece to let him come in to take a look and do some research. But she's very meticulous because she's a a law enforcer. So she wouldn't let anybody get away with anything.
Yes.
So,
That's what made you comfortable even doing that.
That's
Yeah.
exactly why I was very comfortable with her doing it. And so she said that he only spent like 5 minutes. He didn't spend a long time. He just because it wasn't organized, and it was very overwhelming. So when he went in there, he probably was like, "Oh no, this is such a good."
I could see that.
It was chaos, So what I realized after the fact is that he checked that he had met with our family. You understand?
Yeah, check that box.
He checked that. So if you interviewed him and asked him, well, did you meet with the family? Did you see his art? Yes, he could say yes. You understand? So I got that after the fact, but I didn't get it then. So, of course, his credibility, when I realized that he broke the story and who he was and what he did, because he wasn't honest with me, I was hurt.
I can only imagine.
Because he could have positioned that more truthful to me. And the devastation of him saying that he was an FBI informant, hit our family like a train. Because we didn't know. This is not something that my dad talked about, and I wasn't really aware that was something that was even. And then I later found out Mark Paracia met with my dad, interviewed my dad. He could have asked him. So that to me is where I lost credibility for him as a journalist.
Yeah, disingenuous.
He wanted to make a career and a name for himself. And anytime you see him describing himself, that's what he plugs, is that he broke that story because he won more. As a matter of fact, I was told that the Commercial Appeal won more awards from that article than they had ever won in the history of their existence. Okay, so that says a lot. And the way he broke it, he did it in such a way that it took away the credibility of my father. Now, I didn't know at the time at all about his relationship with FBI. So I was living in South Florida, and I opened my door. I had ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN all on my doorstep asking me about my father. And it was horrible.
My goodness.
It was horrible. So after experiencing that, it took my breath away.
Yes.
Because this happened in 2010. My father died in 7. My mother died in 10 months later in 8. We formed the Withers Collection in 2009. We were scheduled to open in 2010, but the story broke. So we didn't open until 2011. And when we opened our doors, that's what everybody wanted to talk about. And I didn't know what to do, but in 2013, I was invited to do an exhibition. No, 2012. I was invited to do an exhibition in Atlanta with John Hope Bryant. And he told me that Ambassador Young would be there. And if I had images of him, to try to put them in the exhibition. So we printed extra stuff of Ambassador Young. And he came to the booth. Now, when he came 3 times. The first time I wasn't there, the second time I wasn't there. And he said, I'm just going to wait a few minutes. And then they went and got me because I told them everywhere I went. I said, if he comes back, this is where I am. Come get me. So I finally got back and we connected. And he grabbed my hand. And he said, your father was one of us. Don't let anybody tell you any different. And he began to tell me many stories about how they got with him to put these articles so that they would live. it was a known fact when the civil rights events took place that it was an intentional erase. We can see that today, right?
Yes.
And what was interesting about how he explained it to me, he said that what people prospectively didn't understand is that the FBI approached everybody in the movement. Everybody in the movement had a number. So it wasn't unique to my father. Now, what was unique to my father is that they harassed him.
Mm-hmm.
And I received the files, which were really thick.
Yeah.
And they didn't just start harassing my father during that time. He was harassed back in, I think, as early as the 50s because they thought he was affiliated with communists. They had this hunt for communists. And that's in his files, but I won't get into all of that because that'll take us down another rabbit hole. But what is interesting is that there were less than 20 pictures, files, and every image that was purchased by them. And I'm going to say purchased because he did not give them images for free. And if they wrote him a check, what do you think they had to have in the system? He had to be assigned a number to write him a check, right? So they did not give him he did not give them his work without paying for them to get it. Every single image in that FBI file was published.
Purchased.
Was published in the media. There was no image in there that was not already published.
My goodness. You know, as I was researching to write in the textbook, I called Ambassador Andrew Young in a cell, and he was the kindest, you know, just spent a good 25 minutes with me talking about your dad. And he said that Martin would not be concerned. He says everything we were doing was on the table, you know, above board. And so Martin would have enjoyed the fact that he was making a little extra money on the side. And that was his take on you know, Ernest Withers, A Complicated Man.
Well, he and he's become my mentor. He did the preface in this book that I shared with you. This is The Revolution in Black and White, which is out of print right now. We're trying to reprint it. But as long as the tariffs are what they are, we won't be able to do it until that's settled a little better.
But 1 minute, by the way.
Okay. And so as a result, he did the preface in the book because he and I had many conversations and he helped me to appreciate what it was like. I mean, people today, do you rebut against the ISIS? Do you tell them what to do? They come into your home, or do you tell them how you want things done? My father was a working man and he had respect for law enforcement because he was one himself. And if they asked him something, he answered it. And he actually made a quote in his book that was published in 2000 that he stayed out of meetings where real decisions were being made because it would have been trouble.
Wow.
He knew that he did not want to be the one to give any information out. So he did not stay when things were happening. He was there when they wanted him to be.
Rosalind, I could go on. I've got about 20 more questions in my brain right now. But thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy schedule to be with us here on the Mischief Maker Show.
Oh, you know, you're one of my favorite people on this.
Likewise, we got a mutual admiration society. Thank you so much. And give my love to the rest of the team there too.
I will let them know.
God bless you.
Thank you.
You have just experienced another episode of the Mischief Maker broadcast. Hit the subscribe button. Connect at chiefmischiefmaker.com. Thanks for coming along for the ride. And hopefully, you are now a bit closer to becoming a mischief maker in your part of the world.